right, y'all, what's going on? Welcome back to Just Absolutely Boxing Podcast. It's episode 65. This is Combo Breaker 99.
It's your boy Boxing P. What's up, everybody?
Yeah, what's going on, y'all? I feel like it's been a long time, man. I feel like it's been a long time since we were on the show, man. It's been about 2 weeks, bro. It's been about 16 days. I've been counting. But, that don't mean we've been absent. We've been doing the streams online. You will go to our YouTube channel. You check out the Jab streams. We still been talking about some current news, but just because we haven't been talking boxing on the show, we still been living the boxing. Just recently, this past weekend, we had a pretty good experience. What'd you think, P?
Yeah, definitely, man. We had a awesome, weekend. Awesome Saturday, anyway.
We'll start with Thursday.
Because that's like boxing. Something big for us. Ain't 2 fights in 1 week. That's not the normal for us. So we actually attended, 2 fights this week, which was overload for us.
It was overload, boy. I was feeling it. Right. I was hungover that Sunday. I wasn't drinking. Boxing, no hangover. Because Thursday, we had the Durham Armory, main event. Shout out Donnie Marshall. Yeah. He was the main event on that card. And then Saturday, down in Fort Bragg, Fayetteville, we had Michael Williams Jr.
Michael Williams Jr. Like I said, it definitely was a very and like people gotta realize. We got a lot of other stuff going on too. It's not just podcasts and going to boxing. So when I say we hit 2 fights this week, that's on top of working 40 hours. Putting in, doing all the other stuff we had to do in life besides just doing this, but still making time to
Still try to squeeze some events in, man.
Yeah,
it's like people think we don't just go. It's not like you just go into the movies. You got to park. You gotta pay to get in, and then you gotta find somewhere to sit. And events just don't pop off. You see one fight, you gotta wait. It's another fight. So events usually take about a good 6-7 hours, actually. So it is like a work shift.
It's a lot of behind the scenes stuff, man, that people don't always see. Travel, fee, tickets. It's just a lot of stuff behind the scenes that we go through to bring this to the fans. Because we love it. It's not that we asking for nothing. It's, we love doing what we do, but I don't want people to get it twisted either. You know what I'm saying? It's it is leg work. It is behind the scenes stuff going on too.
Oh yeah, man. And I'll go ahead and tell everybody we're gonna have a special guest. We're gonna have Donnie on the show. So we're gonna kind of sit down with him and talk about his card as well. But congrats to him. He did score a first round TKO. I know the win didn't come the way he wanted to. So, we are gonna sit down with him, in the next show. He gonna kind of break it down to us. He also got some big things coming up. So we'll let him do that announcement. But since we don't have Junior here, kind of want to go in and talk about the whole Fort Bragg experience, and going to his main event, meeting none other than my favorite fighters of all time. Yeah. Roy Jones Jr. and James Toney, and just that whole atmosphere. I'll let you kick it off, P. Just how you feel, man.
Well,
I'm going to get here in a minute.
I'm going to rewind it a little bit and take it back a little bit. So, pretty much the last interview that we had with, Michael Williams Jr., we had a little surprise for the fans that day, but it kind of fell through. And we had some other seeds planted that day for past Saturday's fight, Yeah. And the thing about life and in the boxing game, you never know. You can't really count your chickens before they hatch. Anything can happen in the ninth inning. So, we just kind of rolled it out. It was anxiety, but we kind of wanted to just wait till it really happened. And when it happened, and it just was, it was all that I kind of imagined it would be, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? We got to, like you say, meet Roy up close and personal. It wasn't just we walking up to him. Big Mike, who Roy trains his son, actually took us back there, introduced us to Roy, and walked away, let us do, speak our piece with Roy. And it was surreal, man. Like I was saying the other day, and you got people who they may get excited over Beyonce or this person or that person, but for boxing fans and people from my generation, my era, and other eras and generations, they understand what a guy like Roy has done in the game, and it was just a big deal, man. A big deal. Yeah, and then not to mention, not to mention before I forget, and not only what he's done in the game, what he's still doing up to this day, being one of the best commentators hands down in the game. Nobody does it like Roy. I mean, I'm still trying to wrap my head around how he called that Kovalev fight. I wanted to kind of talk to him about that night, but it was a lot going on. You got to realize, I mean, it's a lot going on when these guys are around. So I'll wait till, maybe I get another opportunity with him. But like I said, don't forget, he's still very relevant in the boxing game, commentary, promotions, training fighters. So, some people might think, no, Roy's very relevant in the game right now. So it just was an honor for me to meet him, man.
Yeah, for me too, man, because, like we said, shout out to Big Mike and Little Mike for, getting us those press passes just to get in there. Because, like we say, that's not just like, crossing paths, but miss a time to, just be up close and watch him work, watch what he's doing for, the young kids today, still training, even though he's out of boxing. But, for me, like I say, like watching him, even though I'm not a fighter, I kind of like following the personal stake with what he does with his career. Cause like I always say, boxing is life. So, whether you rising to the top or you coming down, I've kind of followed him. So it's kind of like watching him. He was a student of the game. And now people kind of see him as a boxing guru, whenever they want to know who's going to win a fight, they talking to Roy, whenever people want advice, they want somebody to be trained, to go to Roy. Cause that's how I feel, man. I feel like he was just somebody that was put more than just, his stake in the ring. He really put a claim on it outside of the ring too,
Yeah. Yeah. And also, I mean, we still ain't seen nobody who's done it like Roy. All you gotta do is go back to the highlight reels. Who can throw 7 left hooks in a row, Ant? Mm-hmm. I mean, the hand speed, the athleticism. We ain't seen that yet, Ant. So, like, people can't say, oh, so-and-so is the new Roy, or this person took Roy's place. Nobody has really took Roy's place. We still haven't seen people do the things that he's done in the ring, Ant.
Because there's many people that can say, okay, he did a lot of things that you can't teach. That's God's given gift. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, you can always say, okay, he didn't do these things correctly, but those things he did, that's a one and only, And there's not many fighters you can say in the game that are one and only. Everybody can kind of learn the techniques and learn, how to throw a jab, how to block. But the things that Roy did, they were kind of like this one and only,
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I say, again, just to kind of meet him in person, actually finally see that, that's one thing I can cross off my bucket list, bro.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. I'm like, it's still, like I say, kind of surreal just because we just watched him commentate, fight 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah, like a week ago.
Actually, be there with him, and he was a real cool dude, and just getting nothing but positive energy from Roy and for the whole atmosphere. Because, like I say, people got to realize in the fights, it's the boxing world. You got boxing photographers, you got boxing writers, you got boxing historians, you got media, you got podcasters, you got bloggers, you got everything in this, under that boxing umbrella in that building at that particular time. You got world champions, you got former world champions, you got up and comers. So it's just like a cesspool for networking, or, boxing junkies, you know what I'm saying? I mean, because I'm interested in all those different aspects, not just the fighter inside and outside the ring, the photographer, the writer, what drives all these people is boxing. That's the common denominator. So it was just a beautiful thing to see all these people working their part to put on this show, and it come off to be a really, really nice, entertaining show. I mean, it was really satisfying,
Yeah,
for a boxing fan.
It is, man. It's like our version of watching a symphony, because you watching everybody put their little piece together to put on this big performance. You got all of these people who are coming together to make sure everything goes right. Like I said, shout out to Skip Crumpler, that was Michael Williams Jr., his cut man. I got a chance to chop it up with a little bit, told him I appreciate what he do. I see him going off talking to other people, making sure they got certain things done. I see Williams Jr. got some of his cornermen. They getting the ice. Everything just down to that. Everybody's moving, just to try to put this one event together.
All these little parts moving as one, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just cool to see that. And shout out to, Lamar Russ. We ran into him. He was in the building. He'll be on the upcoming season of Contender. He's supposedly the first guy out of North Carolina to ever be on the show. So we got to meet him and chop it up with him. I mean, Mr. Lights Out, Anthony James Tony was in the building. Yeah. I mean,
that was the second person I had crossed off bucket list.
Yeah, I mean, it was overload. It
was overload. Yeah.
But yeah, James Tony was there. He was walking around. He was personable. He was a real cool dude, and it was an honor to meet him too. Like I said, these are guys that I grew up watching. You know what I mean? If you're in my era, you're a boxing fan, you grew up watching. So it was just very, very cool to see these guys, and they got in the ring and did a face off and hugged it up, and had that highlight reels on the big screen. Man, it was just a very exciting night, and from like the beginning to end, the first fight to the last fight, it was good energy there. I really enjoyed myself.
Yeah, and just for people, just for the box fans to know too, like I feel the same way about James Tony too, man, because it was like being at a rock concert, seeing him and then putting his highlight reel on the big screen, and then they just going through naming everything he's done, former middleweight champion, former super middleweight, light heavyweight, cruiserweight, heavyweight, it just shows you that he's definitely one of those pound for pound greats too. And to have both of them in the building for me, that was like a electrifying night for me, just to see, like I said, two of the biggest influences of my era, James and Roy in the same building, and just to see them, hug it up like that, just to kind of, make people think, hey, they don't have no beef, this just what they do. This is warriors.
And like, it wasn't any outshining anybody. James Tony, he was in his lane, Roy was in his lane, and they, both were in the building without any problems. It was just, both of them getting equal love.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to Keith Mulling Sr., because he was in the building too. He's a former world champion, and Roy said he was one of his best sparring partners. We got to chop it up with him. He was in the building. Another really cool, humble dude. Like I say, and I mean, we could talk all day on just the people that were there. I mean, like I said earlier, anything that it takes to put together a boxing show, they were in the building that night, and everybody was cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. Especially the first person I met, when we got there. Shout out to Eric, his friend, heavyweight contender Eddie Gregg. We talked it up about boxing. He told me how he feels about the heavyweights today. Just how he felt like he didn't feel like there was enough athleticism in the game. He felt like a lot of guys ain't really pushing themselves enough to really put forth, the solid contenders like they did, even up to the 90s, like he said. And, we chopped it up a little bit. He used to play for the New York Jets. He used to play basketball. So he was all around athlete, And Eddie Gregg, like I said, he's a big, tall heavyweight. So, he was telling me how he's played power forward and, basketball. Yeah, man, just getting to hear these little stories and know how, what brought them into the game of in the sport of boxing. It's always been fascinating to me. Yeah. That's how I feel.
Yeah, man. Like me and Ant, we was tripping because we was like two kids in the candy store, man. We couldn't stop smiling and giggling for real because it was just that type of atmosphere. You know what I mean? Once we got through there, we had to go through some hurdles to get to the promised land. But once we got there, it definitely was worth it. And for me, the life lesson is you got to push through sometimes. It's going to be roadblocks. It's going to be stuff put in front of you to deter you from, reaching your goal or doing what you need to do. But Saturday, I'm the type of person, it don't take much to deter me, but, I pushed through and persevered, and it's going to be something that I'll never forget in my life. You know what I mean? So it just was a dope night, and what I mean? We were trying to figure out what to really talk about on the podcast, and I said, I mean, we got to tell them about this. We could talk about this for days, man. You know what I mean? So definitely. We just wanted you guys to kind of, live through our experience of meeting some guys that we have a lot of respect for, legends in the game, and guys that, we didn't think we were going to be meeting this soon in the game. I mean, mind you, we've been in the game for a year. So a year ago, we were just at the job, regular boxing fans talking boxing. And then, fast forward to a year later, I mean, we got press passes to a fight, rubbing elbows with Roy Jones, I mean, all these big names in the game. It just was, I just really can't explain it, and it was very fulfilling.
It was fulfilling, man. And like you was going back to what you're saying, man, just like sometimes the obstacles to get somewhere. It's like I always say when boxing is life, it's like the easy thing for people to do. If something really frustrates you, just turn around and not face it. But I mean, if you face it, the reward is going to be big, If you're able to get through it, the little hard part, the little obstacle, when you get over it, the reward is going to be bigger. So that's how I felt like when we got there, like I said, the whole atmosphere, Sports USA and Fayetteville, Fort Bragg, it was just for me, it was just like good energy, everybody was there just to have a good time. People who probably don't even watch boxing all the time, they were just having a good time coming out, to support, support their fighters, support everybody that was out there. And
I mean, and sometimes boxing fans might get like a bad reputation because here and there you will see like a fight break out in the crowd, but that's never been my personal experience. All the fights I've been to, amateur, ballroom, or professional fight, the experience that I've witnessed has been really a really cool crowd. I mean, everybody super friendly, and it was no different Saturday night. People were rooting for different people, but it's still a friendly, competitive atmosphere, and I want people to know that because they might not think that of boxing fans. And then it's all walks of boxing fans. It's old, it's young, it's black, it's white, it's everything. It's not just one demographic. It's very diverse, and that's another good thing I like about it too. And it brings everybody together.
I think the more you kind of bring that diversity together, everybody is kind of new to everybody, so they don't know how to approach them. They're like, oh, this person likes this thing, they have a similar taste, so we can all kind of sit down and enjoy it. Because like I said, like club atmosphere, that's different. There's always kind of a fight going on. You see them there, but like every boxing event I've been to, it's always just been a relaxed atmosphere. Actually, people are actually coming to see entertainment. They want to be entertained. They're not doing their little side things here, the drama. It's all about the entertainment. Like you say, whoever they're supporting, whatever fighter is they're supporting, they're coming to watch them.
Yeah,
I come to talk to people. They're actually breaking down the fight. Asking me what brought me into boxing, or they're breaking little things. The guys in the ring are doing, what they need to change up. So it's always kind of good to talk to somebody, like you say, that you really wouldn't have thought you would have saw at a boxing event.
Yeah, definitely. You run across some people that and when you said that, this one thing popped in my head, and when I went to the Triple G and Canelo fight, the first fight in the movie theater, and the fight was maybe 12 o'clock at night, and I go in the theater, and it's this older white lady, had to be 60 years old, by herself in the movie theater to see this fight, and it just kind of shocked me, but it just goes back to how diverse the fans are in this sport. I mean, it's just very diverse. You never know who loves the sweet science, but I want to give a shout out to the kid Dijon Cecil, I hope I'm saying his name right, but anyway, he made his professional debut that night. I like what I saw in the kid. He came out, he was very entertaining, he's confident in himself, and
definitely made me like that song that he came out to. I can't remember the name of the song. I feel like I'm getting over these songs, but yeah, that song got me hyped just the way he came out with the mask.
Yeah, came out with the energy, had his little mask on and everything. But shout out to Dijon, man. We you on the radar now, so I'm gonna be keeping my eyes on you, seeing what you're doing, man. But I definitely like what I saw from him that night. I mean, it was his professional debut, so You know, it's still very early in the game, and he got work to do. But I like what he did Saturday night. Just wanted to give him a shout out before I forgot. So, but what else though? And I mean, and like the venue alone, we were very impressed with. It was kind of a different setup. It more was like only thing I could think is Dave and Buster's. That's like just the way I can describe it. As far as the layout to it, and it was wide open. A lot of these fights are, they're in like a ballroom or something with, a balcony view. This one was just laid out and wide open.
Yeah, excuse me. Now that you mentioned that, yeah, it was kind of like that Dave and Buster's atmosphere. To me, I think after seeing that, that would be kind of one of the ideal places to have boxing events to me, over sometimes ballrooms. Just to me, like
it's more suitable.
Bar. I like sports bars.
Yeah, so,
it was
more suitable.
It seems more suitable because you got more elbow room and you're at a sports event. So you want to see boxing at a sports bar. You know what I mean? Or some type of live event there,
Even down to the big screens where they were able to throw the highlights on the big screens. Even the sound system, man, it was a more quality. A ballroom is not necessarily a place where, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
a sound system is a big deal, but it just was a nice venue. Like you said, I would prefer to see him somewhere like that outside of Army base. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Outside of Army base.
Yeah.
But I did like the layout of that venue, and it just seemed. I don't know what people were just like more happy in this venue. I mean, they had good food, they had drinks. It just was like, because a lot of times in the ballroom too, we kind of squished in together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you do.
That's
you
kind of elbow to elbow,
looking over people's heads or whatever. But here you had room. Like I said, you had your ringside, your VIP set up, but you also had, everybody else who didn't have like a stand up, and you had plenty of seats. You had plenty of seats still left.
Plenty of seats, yeah. So it definitely was just like I said, man. I can't really say nothing bad about the event. Let's talk a little bit about Michael, his performance.
Oh yeah, man.
Wasn't long, but
it wasn't long, but I mean that's the way you're gonna want it. That's the way.
That's what you're supposed to do.
You're supposed to do. You're supposed to come and make a statement.
So
and just watching them come to the ring, like I said, I like to sit back and read people sometime, and just watching him, 19-year-old, having your dad by your side, help pushing you, and then having one of the greatest train you. And you just coming out to that song "Can't Be Touched," that had me hyped, man. I used to listen to that album when it first came out, man.
I had to go and download that. I ain't listened to that really in 20 years, but any Roy Jones highlight, they playing that song. You know what I mean? But that night, it did just do something to me, and like that's a good point, and just seeing, because like I say, even with Big Mike and Junior, it's not just a boxing thing. It's I respect the way he's in his son's life and how close they are, and the way he's being, a father to his child. It's, it's deeper than that. It's a brother, a positive brother, raising his son, and that's a good thing. And then, like you said, you add Roy Jones in the mix and boxing in the mix, and that song and them coming out live like that, it was lit. And there's no way. And like, I was thinking after I left there, and just like, for me personally, and we just talking right now. I mean, we had to get it out our system, but it was nobody else I could really be there with but you, because we started this from day one, and nobody else could understand it the way you would be able to understand it, because nobody else has really been there from day one. Been people on the outside from day one, but I'm just saying it was really like a feeling of accomplishment, because like I said, a year ago we was just in the sterile storeroom. We work in the medical field. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Talking about boxing.
Yeah.
And to, a year later, 3,000 plus followers, 8 episodes, what is it?
65 now.
65 episodes. Meeting legends in the game. I mean, it's a little sense of accomplishment, in our eyes, because it's not like we selling a product. We not selling Jordans or this, that, and the third. We selling ourselves, you know what I mean? And our passion for the sport, Yeah,
I definitely say the feeling on that is mutual, because not many people, if you know me, I'm not really a person just to open up to anybody. And like I said, I like to read people, and I feel like you share the same passion with the sport. You know, we have our differences about the game, but a lot of it's coming together to, you know, in the same brand, you know, the jab effect. And I mean, everything we bring to the table, like I said, is 50-50. So what we did together throughout this whole year, and then after that, be able to enjoy the rewards together. That's what I'm saying. We got to share it. You know what I mean? There's nobody else I want to share with when I get there. You know, we kind of like, hey, we making it. You know,
and nobody can understand that. Nobody else worked 40 hours a week, still figured out coincided schedules to make these episodes happen. Bought tickets for fights, getting boots on cars.
I was gonna get
getting grilled by Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah.
Background. I mean, people don't have no idea like the background and the legwork that we really do to bring this. I mean, we not getting no money. This is just our passion, what we love to do. But you know, it is. Other side to this, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know?
and that's the parts we talk about. Those are the obstacles. You know, they can make us say, "Damn, I don't want to do this no more." Damn, you know, like if it's gonna be like this, I don't want to do it. But you know, it takes some sweat and it takes some little lessons to learn. And you know, once you get past those, you get some bigger rewards. Because let's go back to that, P. But let's tell the boxing fans out there: if you're going out to the Durham Armory, don't park at the McDonald's out there. Don't park at that. You know, that's a tow zone now, man. FYI on that.
Anybody who used to use the McDonald's parking lot for the Durham Armory boxing matches, do not do it any longer.
I took an L that night. But anyway, yeah, man, going back to Michael Jr.'s his performance, man, that's what you want to do when you go in there and make a statement. Show you got that power. You know, I don't care how old your opponent is. People talked about the age. Guy comes in the ring 43 years old. He's experienced. You know what I mean? 43-year-old, he's experienced. Anytime you approach a full-grown man, I mean, to me, I mean, you could teach somebody a lesson. But for him to go in there and make the statement and, you know, do what he did and get him out early, you know, I take my hat off to him.
Absolutely. It definitely, I mean, it's like, I mean, with the energy, it was no stopping him, man. I mean, like if we just say he came out with Roy, his dad, Remy, the music, the energy, you couldn't stop the kid that night, man. You couldn't stop Michael Williams that night, man.
It all spells knockout, man.
You couldn't stop him that night. The kid was on a roll, and the cards were just, the stars were lined up for him that night, and he went in there and did what he was supposed to do, and barely broke a sweat.
Exactly.
You know, congrats to Michael Williams Jr. and Big Mike and Roy. They did a good job, you know, getting him ready for this fight. What can you say, Ant? What can you say?
That's what you need, man. You know? I mean, yeah, like I said, 19 years old.
That's how you supposed to do it. Yeah, you know.
But yeah, man. I mean, overall, like I said, man, this event for me, it was just something. It was just something I feel like I really needed. It was just like an experience I really needed to have, you know, in my life, man. Just like we said, we love to talk boxing, but going to these events and actually experience them, you know, covering them, you know, getting a chance to take pictures and chop it up with the boxing legends. It's a part of the sport that, you know, that's needed for me too, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, it was kind of like our pay, and we didn't make a dime off our blood, sweat, tears this year. But, you know, Saturday night we got